Hey there, Christopher Thunder here from the world's dirtiest workshop. I'm here today with my car stereo stuff here and some connectors. Now, I've got a couple tools here. I've got a stripper and I've got two crimpers here. And with these connectors, I should be able to make connections for these car stereo plugs here. But I want to know that they're going to work. I'm not just going to crimp them all together and then put the car stereo in and then realize that this has just pulled free from the other plug. That's actually happened when I was very young, in my 20s. I put together a whole car stereo harness, and then I got it in the car, and then it just disconnected itself. And then it's a mess, right? Very disappointing. So let's take a look at one wire. The most important wire, the hot lead for the whole harness. This is the one that drives the car stereo when the car is on. I'm not talking about constant power. I'm talking about when you turn the ignition. Now, we're just going to start with this. I picked it at random. We're going to put on the uncrimped connector, okay? Now, the first thing I realized was you can only twist them about twice. You can't just twist and twist and twist and twist, because the more you twist, the more messed up the wire gets, and eventually you can't get the wire on to the end. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the end of the wire and just mark it with my blue marker. That's pretty accurate. Now, what I'm going to do is pull that off and take a look at it and see what I got. Okay, so you can see the tiny little blue mark there. Okay, it is super tiny. All right. Right there, super, super tiny, okay? And with that, I've got about a ½ an inch of wire, maybe a couple millimeters of insulation, and then ½ an inch of the rest of it. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my 1/3 of an inch crimper here, and I'm gonna just crimp one of the connectors. It really pays to have a lot of connectors with you, so you can waste a few. That's why I got this whole bunch, which is more than I'll ever need. But I'm here, and I'm going to push that right up against the jaws, and then I'm going to start to crimp. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of open up the jaws and then crimp again. Okay. Now, I'm going to look at this and make sure that the plastic is not punctured. Okay, so it actually looks pretty good. Hopefully we can get a good view of that. And then we're going to take our red wire again, and we're going to put it back on. So I'm going to put it back on the open end of this crimped connector. And I'm going to see that I can get that all the way down to the blue mark. Okay, so that's on pretty good, right? I'm going to pull that back off, and I'm going to see that because I twisted it just a little too much, that I lost some of it there. So I'm gonna fix it and then put it back on, and hopefully it goes on just right. Now, there I got all the wires in. So none of the wires have been folded over and then, down around the sides. So if I crimp that and pull that, right now, that's gonna stay. I can almost be 100% sure that that's gonna stay. And that tells me that these connectors are good, that these are going to work. This is exactly what I need. So I'm going to put this one aside, the one that I actually crimped, and I'm going to get another one out. And I'm going to crimp it on the wire. So here we go. So I'm going to take this and put it on the wire. Remember, you can only do about 2 twists out of these. You can't just twist and twist and twist, otherwise you'll just mess up the wire. Just put it on. It should feel good going on. So you're gonna have to do it by feel, and it should almost fall on there. See that? It just fell right on there. And I know that that is in the right position. Now when I grab my crimper, I'm gonna slide it down to the thicker part of the neck. I'm gonna do it by feel. And then once I'm there, I'm gonna crush it. So I'm gonna put it in the red part of the jaws. So see the red dot there? I'm going to put it in the red dot. Hopefully I can get it all the way through. Okay, and I'm going to slide it down. So I'm holding the connector onto the wire using gravity. And I know that by bouncing it with my hand, I'm feeling it, I'm bouncing it, I know it's in the right position. Now that shouldn't take a lot of effort, okay? You'll see that I was able to squeeze that with my fingertips. That is on there. That's a good crimp. And I can now install that in the car. So crimping wires is a little bit of an art, okay? I didn't break it. There's no hole in it, right? You can always do this with pliers, but you'll get holes in your crimps, or you'll break the metal part of the connector inside. You'll fracture it, and it'll just pop loose and fall off. But your goal here is to have something that's on so good that if you do 100 of these, you won't have a bad wire. And that's your goal. You want to be able to do all of these and not have one single bad connection. Because if you do have one bad connection, your car stereo is just going to get messed up. Now this is a 6-minute video, a 6-minute tall video. This is my first video for this installation. Now I've got other parts of the video for how I bent the chassis of the car to get the car stereo in. I don't know if I'm going to publish that. But yeah, I was beating on the car to the point where the car was shaking just to get the car stereo to fit in and have 4 holes. Yeah, it was beautiful. A defect in the design of the car, but I got the car pretty new. But nobody had ever put in 4 screws in the car stereo. It came with 3. I'm like, wow, from the factory? Yep, it happened that way. So there's all kinds of videos about this car installation, but this one is the wire one. And I thought it would interest you that this process is more than simply going out and buying connectors. I have all kinds of connectors with me today. I have some waterproof ones, I have some high-end ones, and these are kind of low-end. These are from Home Depot. The waterproof ones are really nice. They come with some heat shrink plastic, and I can make them super waterproof, but that's not really what I needed to do today. What I needed was very simple, cheap Home Depot electrical connectors. Very, very simple product. That's the packaging, okay, for that. I feel confident now between these tools and this tool here that I should be able to connect all of these 100% without a problem. If for some reason a wire would break, I would have the strippers here to make sure the wire gets fixed correctly. And I know with complete confidence that I'm going to be able to put in this car stereo without a hitch. Thanks for watching me, Christopher Thunder, from the world's dirtiest workshop. Bye-bye.